And earlier I spoke with Wayne Bergmann, who is chairman of the Kimberley Land Council, about this deal. Wayne Bergmann, thank you for your time. Now, Mick Dobson has called this an act of colonialism and theft. How do you see it?
Oh, look, I think it's certainly heavy-handed tactics, and compulsory acquisition is generally reserved for public purposes like acquiring a road or a school or a hospital. But what we're seeing here, compulsory acquisition being used to acquire a piece of land for a major commercial entity. This is for private industry, and I think it's outrageous. I feel the sense of anger no different to Mick Dodson's analogy of this is the old colonial days of taking land from Aboriginal people.
But you had an agreement with Woodside and the West Australian government which you signed in April of last year. Why is it that you're against this development now?
We're not against the development. There are a number of things that were a condition in the heads of agreement, and that was we have taken best practice. We've looked at areas like the Pilbara and the Burrup, and we realised that this development, if it's going to have positive effects on Aboriginal people, it needs to have a proper plan in place for dealing with it. What compulsory acquisition does is provide certainty to industry. It doesn't provide certainty about Aboriginal people's concern or the wider community's concerns about those impacts that would happen on Aboriginal people. So therefore, history shows Aboriginal people will be pushed aside. So compulsory acquisition only pressures Aboriginal people and won't put any pressure on the government or Woodside in making sure there are proper plans in place to manage any negative impacts.
Can you see the West Australian government's point of view, the fact that this development might not happen if you are unable to reach an agreement?
Well, I think the Premier's actions today have put this project at risk. There was Aboriginal support for this project going ahead on the best possible terms, on responsible development. The Premier bringing forward this could be a game changer for the continued Aboriginal support of this project. I have to go back now to traditional owners and seek instructions from them whether they continue to be part of this project. It's been a very hard decision. People only wanted to be part of this project if it could create intergenerational change, if it could create an opportunity for the future. Compulsory acquisition only creates commercial certainty for industry, doesn't create certainty for Aboriginal people.
So of this compulsory, what is it that you're most unhappy about in terms of this compulsory acquisition?
Because it's a threat. It's a threat that agree to it on our terms or we'll do it without you. This project's supposed to create world standards in engagement. Woodside operates on an international basis. It has international companies. You know, the guidelines, Kyoto protocols, the Equator protocols, World Bank guidelines about engaging with communities are not being complied with. Compulsory acquisition is a breach of the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, where Indigenous people's property rights are to be respected. The government is treating Aboriginal property rights differently to anyone else. And that is what's really disappointing about this.
So given all that, Mr. Bergmann, would you be happier if this project now didn't go ahead?
Well, I have to act on instructions. We're a representative body. We're to act on instructions from the group, and I'm going to have to seek instructions. I've been receiving phone calls from traditional owners who are very disappointed and angry about what's happened. And, you know, the state hasn't got clean hands in this process. The state hasn't engaged with us for over 2 months, maybe 3 months. So to say that we haven't been able to break through, it's a bit difficult negotiating in an empty room when the state won't even come into the room with our lead negotiator.
Okay, we are going to have to leave it there. Wayne Bergmann from the Kimberley Land Council, we appreciate your time. Thank you.